Hello.
Tom Tapit. How
Hey,
you
what's going
doing?
on, man? How you doing, brother?
Whew, pretty good. Yourself?
Yeah.
I may check some levels with Candy for audio.
Hi, Candy.
Hey,
She may
Tom, you
not.
sound great.
Awesome. Well, we're good to go then, right, babe?
Yep, go ahead.
That easy. This is what made. Well, I guess not. I was gonna say this is what made Joe Rogan millions of dollars. It's just this easy. But I guess he had video.
And, he did a lot of work beforehand.
Did he do work?
Yeah, he was an actor. He was a comedian. He did all sorts of things.
He was an actor. He was a comedian.
I'm sure it wasn't like an easy road for him. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm pretty sure it was. I read his autobiography. It was called Easy Road.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, haven't read it. Don't know anything about it. Actually, let's do some setup before I just because I'm just rambling with a friend now,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I should
Right.
probably ramble with a friend after we do the important part of
Okay.
setting up. Why are you listening, listeners? Why are you listening to my friend Tom Tappet? Well, you may not know, but Tom Tappet is a former tattoo artist. Well, of course you knew that because everybody I talked to are tattoo artists. But what you didn't know is that Tom Tappet no longer tattoos. I don't know. You probably still do, don't you?
Nah, no, not at all. I haven't since last August. Not this past August, but the August before.
Okay. So you did you use pen machines yet?
Yeah, I used
That
the Bishop. It was
okay.
wonderful.
So you did get the technological curve of the pen machine at least, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
now are on old school. You're doing watercolor. I'll
Yeah.
call it old school. And you're not just
Okay.
doing you're selling art is what I more should
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
not just watercolor.
100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like not hey, I'll meet you at the shop. I will put this on you at this time. Oh, you didn't show up. No, I have to keep that deposit because you just fucked my paycheck over. That's the way it works, and it's why I explain it's non-refundable. That is no longer part of your life.
Well, there's always a grace thing. Sometimes people get sick, things happen. It's okay.
Right, but in the art world that you're in now, you're selling
Hmm.
your own prints and paintings. That isn't
Hmm.
something that happens, right? You don't have to meet somebody that your canvas is there sitting for you, waiting.
Well, no, yeah, no. I mean, but there is, things when it comes to shipping and all this other stuff that there's different hijinks that happen.
Oh
You
yeah,
know what I mean? So,
have you been propositioned for artwork from Nigerian prints?
no, I have been propositioned for artwork. I don't do commissions at all.
Really?
Yeah, I just because
Why?
people just send you pitches that look good as pitches, but
Okay,
they don't really translate well to the way that I draw or paint.
I understand that. You when they send you pictures. All right, let's go over your artwork then.
Mhm.
It's all dirty pics.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah, it has an erotic base, without a doubt.
It's been you're a featured artist or were a featured artist at the Dirty Show here in
Yeah,
Detroit.
yeah, I was very happy when I got that call. The guy who runs the show gave me a call, and he's like, "We'd really love to for you to be one of the featured artists for the show," which just gives you like prime position and all the stuff. I don't know if you ever been, but the place is just a huge abandoned warehouse in Detroit.
Hmm.
Just
I have not been. I have friends that
oh,
go. It always seemed like
something to do for the weekend.
well, yeah, I don't know what yeah. I've got kids. I guess that's where I'm at. Like my David's 17 now, but I probably still wouldn't take him, I guess. But
No, no,
yeah, it's not the place that you're going to be like, hey, let's go check out the dildo shop at the fucking
no.
at the huge warehouse. Bring the family.
No, that show up by you is I went two or three times and it was impressive. Like
Okay.
I can't believe the amount that they put into it. There's like go-go dancers, and then there's like little stations, like there are tattoo conventions, and there's burlesque happening, and all sorts
It's
of
it's not
entertainment
a
for the weekend.
I just imagined some kind of darkened Canadian sex um bar. It's not
No,
that.
no, not at all. No, no. I
Okay.
mean, again, erotic base, but not like, oh, there's the orgy over there. Let's join.
Well, I thought I
There's-
just envisioned it just like when you, I don't know if you've ever been to a nude beach, but you're like, wait a second, where's the models? Because these old people are not doing it for me.
Yeah, they're just enjoying their freedom.
Yeah, I just figured I would go there and it'd be a bunch of like out of shape guys in like too much leather, a bunch of gimp suit masks and
Easy to
stuff
play
like
ring
this.
toss. Yeah, I get it.
Easy to play ring toss. It was not that though.
No, no, no.
It was a commercial endeavor. It was well, it wasn't family friendly. What did you see at the Dirty Show that impressed you?
Well, when you initially go in, I was shocked. It was Philadelphia Tattoo Convention line. Like I couldn't
Okay,
believe that there
which
were
is
that many
huge.
people. Yeah, it's convention center like. It's just that
Okay.
and big, and there's art literally covering the entire span of the place, all different types of erotic art. But then there's a stage with burlesque. There's a girl you can eat sushi off of. There's a flogging station. There's a shibari like little booth that people are having shibari done. There's a
What is
dirty
shibari
movies
dong?
room. What is what?
Shibari dong. I'm familiar with
Shibari is just like the act of tying of rope and hanging
Okay.
from certain objects.
Yeah. Yeah. Put them up on the chandelier, let them sit there for a while.
Yeah.
Seems like the
Sometimes it's a
most
release for
boring sex
somebody.
ever.
Sometimes it depends on the person.
Yeah, I
Everybody has
guess.
their own
Yeah.
kink,
Yeah.
Some people like feet. I don't know why, but it's the thing.
Which is a part that you are exploring of sorts, I'm guessing, or is this just your own kink of sorts? Because when I look at your artwork, it's not anybody's face. It's not
No.
really anybody's I mean there's sometimes private parts in there, but it's
Yeah.
not like expressly like, look at this. It's not like you opened up a Hustler magazine or something.
Well, the reason there's no faces is something that I stole from them taking away mannequin heads in the 40s and 50s,
Okay.
because what they did there was for you to picture you wearing the clothes. So when you look at the art, I want you to picture that you're in that scenario.
Okay. And
You know what I mean?
what's these aren't I know you and I know your hairstyle
Hmm.
and that's the guy in there is not you. Am I wrong? How are
No,
you?
no, no.
Where are you sourcing these images from? Are people sending them? Are you searching them online?
Well, what
Are
was
you
cool
there in the room in the
uh,
cuck chair?
in the beginning when I was like trying to like figure out like my voice and stuff like that, I talked to Dave Nessler and I asked how
Mhm.
he got his models, and like he was telling me what he does now compared to what he used to do. And what he used to do was he used to go to strip clubs and ask them to pose for him, and he would pay them,
Mhm.
and then he would have his artwork. So considering I like the whole vintage aesthetic and the etiquette of the past, I went to burlesque girls and
Okay.
I offered the same type of situation.
How do you not be a creep in that situation, or at least
Very
come off as a
carefully.
creep? Yeah, because
Yeah, well, that's the
if you're
thing.
at a
Like,
strip joint and even if you I mean I know Dave Nessler's work, it's fucking
mhm.
amazing and he is
Yeah,
a very
he's
talented artist, obviously.
one of the guys I always looked up to. Yeah.
But if I didn't know Dave's work or that he was an artist and I see him in the corner at a strip club, if
Mhm.
I'm a girl there and he asks me for paint, I'm just figuring, you know,
Right.
that he's just trying to get me alone in a room.
Well,
That's
I would believe that people can smell stink, like a desperation,
mhm.
a dirtiness to them, where I don't want to have sex with these people at all. And like, I don't care about that aspect of it. So I
Okay.
think it's a little bit more comfort in that. And sometimes it's just even offered to me because of what I do now. Girls in that community will reach out to me and say, "Hey, I would love to be a part of
Right.
this."
So at this point you have a reputation for being safe, not being a creep.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm friends with erotic photographers. I'm friends with a lot of the models and stuff like that, and they tell me stories of, if there's a shower scene, that guy usually is a creep. Certain things that they, I'd like to listen to them and understand their point of view, and me to never be that guy.
Mm-hmm. I do. Because I've certainly we've worked with models of sorts. My wife she does a lot of events type things
Mhm.
and burlesque, not burlesque, but pinup girls. She works with pinup girls often a
Mhm.
lot. And
Mhm.
those girls often are models as well inside of the industry. And I mean, you can ask any one of them a question about, a horrible photographer that they've dealt
Right.
with, and they've got
They
plenty.
all
I mean,
have
you'll
one.
be there for a
Yeah.
while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
mhm.
no, that guy is somebody I never even want to like come close to being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I dare say
people
that
go
your
through enough. I
work
don't want to be a part of their
shows
negativity.
that you don't. I'd like to think that, I mean, and when I'm looking at it, it's pretty, they're very intimate. Like
Yes.
the images are like somebody was there, right?
Mhm.
Like, and, or you must be posing these people in some fashion.
Yeah, lighting and everything is very. I'm just trying to tell a story, and however people want to see that story is fine. But I'm
You're
trying to
trying,
get to that moment. You know what I mean?
you're trying to tell a short story. Also, am I wrong?
Yeah,
We kind of talked briefly
it's
about that.
yeah, it's philosophy based. So like, there's no such thing as the future or the past. It's only right now that matters.
Certainly in
Everything
your artwork.
else, well, yeah, you can't change the past, and the future isn't there yet to change. So all I really want to project is like, remember this moment, uh, or think of this moment and be in this moment. I don't want people to rush to get to the end. And I
Mhm.
feel like the erotic base is something that a lot of people, regardless of if they want to say it or not, have, um, sex in their lives.
Yeah, most likely. We wouldn't be here,
Yeah,
right?
right.
You live in a city. All them people be
I,
fucking.
yeah, there's a lot of people here. You know what I mean? But that's something that I grew up with. That knowing that there's always something else there, but you have to kind of really enjoy where you are, opposed to looking what's around the corner.
Did this come about? I mean, you grew up in New York City. I'm not wrong about that, am I?
I grew up in Long Island and Brooklyn together.
Okay. Brooklyn being the city, also though. Not wrong.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
suburb
Long
of
Island though.
Manhattan.
That's
Anybody
what.
from that lives in Manhattan will be like, no, but it's not Manhattan. And I'll be like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
Manhattan's changing now too. It's all rich there now. Am I wrong?
Manhattan is turning into Disneyland. Uh, it's kind of weird. A lot of the mom and pop shops are slowly dissipating, and it's become almost whitewashed, just like everything else in the world. Uh, where we used to
Commercial
have pride
washed.
in. Well, yeah, that, but and cheaper. So cheap is like the way people move now. Like, like if you look at old houses compared to now, it's just like this. We've lost our heritage or heart, and now it's just like clean and sleek, and which is nice for those people that like it. But like, I still like old Gothic mansions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's
Yeah.
certainly a better story there than some new stucco wall
Hmm.
with no dentive architecture or archways. But are you seeing then the new construction in New York also is not? I mean, they're
There's
trying to make a splash though, right? Anybody doing anything new wants to be seen in Manhattan.
of course, it's
Okay,
it's advertising. They're trying to sell,
but
and
they're all
like they're
doing it.
trying to sell. This is what will make you happy. Just like they did in the 40s and 50s with like Mad Men and stuff like that, where if you have this stuff, you'll be happy. But it's because
Fleeting.
before that we had tradition and heritage and stuff like that, but they kind of took it, and then they were like, oh, how do we sell this? If you have this type of shoe, you'll be happy. And
Is
that's
this
just
I kind of
evolved
catch
into New York City.
an observation of advertising then. Certainly you
Hmm.
mentioned Mad Men and even
Hmm.
talking about how the architecture of Manhattan has somewhat changed to
Hmm.
recognize more commercialized success or more like was it you're happy? Like this is what
Well,
you're happy, fucker, be happy. Mhm.
that and probably like capitalism and all. Like, if we can do it cheaper and make it look like this, they'll like this. You know what I mean? But we make more money on the back end. This
And
is what
you're
they'll accept.
do you find your art kind of as a counter to that then? Because I mean, we're not seeing product placement,
No, I don't want to do that.
and not just not seeing product placement, but now as I think on what I've seen of your art, which has been several pieces, you're pretty prolific at this point. But there's no, it's not even that you would know. In many cases, you don't know the time frame, right?
No,
Like even if there was a dated piece of clothing in there, that might be from
a
a
guy that
night
dresses
out.
up classic. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So do you find that's a theme that the art has answered for you then, that you've seen growing up close to Manhattan, seeing its changes and its commercialization?
Um, I guess I'm just kind of like I really love who we used to be. Um, as much as you can't change where we are, but you can at least take advantage of the people around you. So like think global, act local type stuff. So I you've met my lady, like I'll treat her
Mhm.
like everything that I would want, you know what I mean? So holding on to etiquette like that and putting it into an erotic base, kind of like holding each other's hands, is a little bit more
Mhm.
um, impactful to me.
So like those small moments, yeah, you're not focusing your artwork on the genitals or any finished part. Yeah,
No,
I'm sorry, but I'm kind of studying your artwork as we talk too.
as you're
You know
talking,
what I
yeah,
mean? I
yeah,
mean, I'm not looking at
uh-huh.
it right now,
Right,
but when
right.
I'm going over the pieces, I'm seeing these bits of you as and I'm only putting that into context now as you say,
Mhm.
well, I needed to find my voice,
Right.
which is a probably I should stick there for a minute because I'm an artist. I have no
Uh-huh.
voice left. I don't know. Or I
Uh-huh.
feel like when you say find my voice, I remember almost trying to lose my voice as a tattoo artist, right?
Which is
Like,
good. Yeah.
yeah, because everybody wants you to do their thing, not your thing.
Well, I mean, losing your voice, it definitely sucks. But also, have you ever emptied a closet and put everything back together? Like, it's kind of good to destruction is good because
Okay.
then you can
Yeah.
only build the way you want it to build, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I follow that. That you almost might need to purge.
Yeah.
So tattooing could be that, I guess, for you if you come. Was it that for you then? I should ask.
What do you mean, tattooing? Like what it
Yeah.
did
Did
for
you
me?
lose yourself to supply the technical aspect, the things that you knew about your ability, but you're not doing your art, your voice necessarily on customers typically.
Well, I came into tattooing not knowing what was going to happen. I wanted to tattoo because at the time it was something different. It was something that I was enamored by from just getting my first tattoo. Um,
At 18,
and
what
then
age?
I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Parent sign, or you're in
No,
a
I
dark room
just
somewhere with your friends?
I knew people. I asked my parents out of respect, but I just knew people that would take care of it.
Okay.
It's New York. There's always somebody.
Yeah. Well, it
Um,
sounded real mafia like when
no,
you say that.
no, no.
I knew people that
Um,
take care of it. You know what I'm saying? I got a
yeah,
stone in my
yeah.
shoe. I need to remove it with it.
But like even that moment when I first got it, I was like, "This is amazing!" Like I thought it was like the coolest situation ever. And then when I did eventually take the leap into tattooing, like I couldn't believe how wonderful it was to be able to make art as a living. And then I just wanted to get better and better and better
Mhm.
and just become. I wanted to be the best I could be,
And you
and
you
and
eventually
tattoo
started.
everything.
You were doing. Man, I feel like you were doing realism. It's been a long time, Tom. I
I
apologize for that,
did. I
but you were
did whatever.
doing forms of realism.
I really focused on like everything. I kind of went into like the Nia traditional towards the end. I really liked it.
Okay.
I thought it was fantastic, and I went through all the motions. I went to coil machines to. I even did the Numa when it first came out.
Yeah.
I
The
I
pneumatic
went everywhere
machine.
with it.
So you
Yeah,
you
and
were one of
then
those assholes at the convention, huh? Can you turn that
yeah,
down? Oh
with
no,
the
you
air
can't.
compressor. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
For those that
yeah.
don't know, pneumatic machines were some of the first popularized rotaries. You can listen to them more about the history of them, perhaps, if you want to hear my podcast between me and Carson Hill, who is the creator of the pneumatic tattoo machine, which I believe he was kind of the Elon Musk for, because rotary machines existed pretty much since the dawn of man. They were some of the first tattoo machines. Even coil rotary machines is the craziness that is, but that was one of the first rotary machines. However, the Carson Hill made them sexy by making them pneumatic. Like he
and then
made
once you
them.
had the pneumatic, it gave you like a step up into what the machines are now.
Yeah. Yes. Like I remember seeing everybody was switching to pneumas because some of the top guys were really performing well with them. And then, and it was just a pricey ticket. You had to have the air compressor, the quiet one, hopefully. You had to have water traps. Yes. But then one year I seen Mike DeVries was using a swash drive at a convention. And I was like, whoa, this is a big change, you know? Or what was it? Actually, I think I seen somebody when Carson came out with the hybrid, which was a pneumatic / rotary machine. Basically, it was his pneumatic machine that ran pneumatic, but you could also set it up to run with like this magnet driven power pack on the back. But that made it a rotary. There was nothing different than a rotary pretty much at that point. And I think that's when people started to be like, oh, rotaries aren't all bad. They've maybe just got a bad name. It's, to me, it's like this. So we've had electric cars forever and none of them are sexy. And then Elon Musk realized that we needed a sexy electric car, right? Like if you make a fast one,
boobs, there's the truck. We got it.
Yeah. Well, that truck, good fucking Lord. But yeah, the fast car, the sleeker lines, that seemed to appeal. And then that made electric things that people wanted. And once you get rid of that stigma, it's like everybody can go there. So now everybody's using a pen.
Yeah.
And
I actually, my lady was helping a woman tattoo recently, and I never even used one of the ones that had the battery pack attached to it, and I just gave it a try on that fake skin, and I was like, oh my god, this is so much easier than anything I've ever used.
It's almost like my line work has gotten worse, kind of. Since I've used pens. I used to have a coil machine that I had set up, man. It was so forgiving. And I just knew every spot, you know what I mean? I knew how to work with that machine because it was so forgiving, and I tuned it up. I did all the springs, you know, I knew way too much. Well, I knew what you needed to know back then. I say way too much now because it's all pretty obsolete. But the idea of carrying tubes, needles, rubber bands, clip cord, power supply, or
the whole Fat Max case,
or just some cartridges and a machine, you're like, yeah, my line work, I'll find a way around it, you know. Or I'll take a little bit longer with mostly my tattoos they don't rely on line work as they once did. Good. You know, it's more realistic based kind of stuff typically now. But
that's wonderful.
That's me talking about me, and I want to figure out how not to tattoo. I want to figure out, how did you told me, we sat down in Manhattan before I went to Times Square and had a blast, by the way. First time in my life having fun in Times Square. But we sat down, we talked about it briefly, that you planned an exit strategy, as you said, from tattooing.
Many years ago. Yeah, so many years ago.
Why did you see the necessity to, or the desire to exit?
I saw the buildup of the tattoo industry. I saw more and more people making it a career, where when I came in, it was something of niche. Not as many people around. Yeah, it was like, okay, this is cool, and you had to be an artist. It helped to be an artist anyway.
And you had to be able to take pain. That was something that there was a time, I believe it or not, I'm talking to the customer base now. There was a time when tattoo clients took pain.
Yes.
There was even so much so now that I've changed my own tattoo. I'm going to talk about me again for a second.
Okay,
sorry.
Go ahead. I'm into it.
But I'm going to complain, I guess, a little bit. It is as though tattoos aren't supposed to hurt anymore. People are surprised sometimes by the pain, or that they would be expected to endure it and that no, we don't need to use lidocaine. That though has changed my tattooing because I found out this inconvenient truth. I must have tattooed almost 20 years before I ever found out that tattoos don't have to hurt as bad as I would just get the tattoo
Depending
done.
on the process. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You as a
Uh-huh.
technical artist, there's like you can baby some color in, or you can
Uh-huh.
put some color in, god damn it, and get done.
Right,
And
right, right.
I was always
The
trying to be
Exhibit
nice to
way.
their
Get it
pocketbook.
done.
Yeah. And just get it done, save you on the time. It's going to cost a little bit of pain. I didn't
Mhm.
know. My wife got tattooed by a friend, and she's like, it didn't hurt at all. Like, not
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
I'm like, even in these solid black parts, whatever, it hurt there. And she's like, no, not at all. And so I had to reapproach. But people don't seem to there was a time when it was kind of tougher, and I believe that's what you're saying. You started to notice then that so many other people, and not no, you're not saying tougher. There was a time when it was certainly different. It was more on the edges. It was on fringe society
Yeah.
more. It
Right,
wasn't
right.
as
Now it's
accepted.
popularized. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Kat Von D wasn't out making it look pretty. The
yeah.
basketball stars weren't out making it look tough. It
uh,
existed on whores and bikers, right? And sailors.
essentially, yes.
And the people that my people, it existed on my people. But as you saw, the change, was it people coming in? Because a lot of the kids coming in now, they're coming in from art degrees. Were you seeing
Uh,
these kids
which is
better and
great.
better? Or
How
yes?
wonderful is that?
Well, it's great for them and their
Yeah.
customers. Ain't so
Uh-huh.
good for me or my customers who keep going to them. No, I'm
Right.
kidding. Uh, but yeah, it is wonderful. It makes everybody have to readjust, right? Like there was a
Mhm.
time I, I, I
You
find
just
that
did the picture on the wall. If you can copy the picture on the wall, it's great.
then you were good. Yeah. And then you
Yeah.
started being like, I can't copy that picture.
Hmm.
That thing's awesome. Like, I don't even know
Right,
where
right.
to start. There's so many layers to that. Was but was that the impetus then that you saw, or you just saw it
My
getting
thing is that
overrun?
I just saw it becoming so saturated with artists that I'm slightly a bit of a contrarian that I just didn't want to be part of this massive group. And with technology coming in and AI and all that other stuff, I kind of feel like I made the right move.
Mhm.
Um,
Until
but
AI copies your design style and starts doing it.
yeah, I mean, like AI is AI. I mean, like certain people are going to use it as a tool. Certain people are going to take advantage of it. You know what I mean? I see people just saying that this is my art and it's just AI art, and that's fine. That's good for them. I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Aside from that, you start planning an exit as you see it becoming inundated with more and more
Yes.
artists, and as the landscape's changing, your exit then, what's your first ideas? Was
Well, my
this your
first
first
idea
idea?
was, I believe it was Halo actually said to me, an hour a day, an hour in the morning. And if you can't find an hour of your day to do something, like you need to kind of rearrange your life.
Yeah.
Um, and so I started doing that, an hour every morning, just working on something. Didn't have to be good, just had to be something. And then I just wanted to become a better artist in general. Even when I started tattooing, I was drawing constantly. I had like full sketchbooks of just waves, you know what I mean? And then a full sketchbook of just birds, just so I can become a better artist. And then at the conventions, I started selling like little small 4x6s. And then I started selling clothes and started selling this and that. And like slowly it developed a, you know, a demand.
Hmm.
My demand isn't that great yet still, but it's enough right now.
No, it's paying for your rent way out in New York, so
Right,
that must
right.
be pretty decent.
it's yeah, but it's nothing to boast about.
Okay, you're not posting your
Uh,
bank account on there yet.
no, no, I would never do that anyway.
No,
Um,
you become an influencer immediately. I believe,
yeah,
isn't that
I don't
that's
want
the newest evolution of humanity is a influencer.
to.
At any rate, uh, exit strategy, you started with 1 hour a day,
Mhm.
and that was enough. You also told me you were doing 2 hours at the end of a day.
Yeah, that's where I'm at now. So I think it was last year or the year before, I was doing this full sketch a morning. I would put on The Price is Right, and wherever I was at with the sketch at the end of the episode,
That's where you
that's
were at.
what I did for the day.
Okay.
Uh, then
And when
and
we
then
say
I just
sketch,
wanted
you're
to
using brushes though still, right?
no, sketch. I literally just use a pencil and
Pencil.
paper.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I still post those from time to time on an account on Instagram, just because it helps keep going. It
Mhm.
gives me something to okay. I got to get this out there. I don't care if anybody likes it or not. I'm just trying to put it out there.
Man, that's not easy. What you just said right
No,
there.
you gotta let go of your ego. I mean, like they are what they are. It's just trying to become better. The only way you get better is just keep on going.
How much do you listen in the comments from your posts of art?
I check them the next day usually, and then I'll just appreciate people saying anything. Like I think it's pretty wonderful that anybody has any kind of like to what I do. It's pretty rad.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason that I posted is there was an artist that I took a seminar from years ago, and he said that every morning he wakes up and he has a blank wall in his house, and he says, "What would I hang there?" And that's what he makes for the day.
Okay.
So
And he
I
keeps the
kind
same
of just
blank
do the
wall.
same thing.
He never hangs
Yeah, he
anything
keeps
on
the
it.
same and never hangs it. He just looks at the blank wall and goes, "What would I hang there?" And that's what he makes. And I was like, "That's you got to make it for you."
Mm-hmm.
'Cause if you like it, then maybe other people will like it.
The images that you paint, then it's not a braggadocious thing at all. Then for you.
No, not at all. It's literally just it's just about connection, a connection ritual. It's something to ground you and make you feel that this is important, like to act. You're going to die. You know what I mean? You're going to die somehow. You can get hit by a bus tomorrow.
Yeah.
So enjoy this moment. You know what I mean? Tell that person you love them. Say hi to a best friend. And then my thing is like, hey, here's this moment that we can all relate to is enjoying your partner.
Tom Tappet, I've done a terrible job of this. So I don't think I've said your name once yet.
It's all right.
I just realized that. Well, for those listening,
It's a weird name.
it's a weird name, Tom Tappet.
Yeah.
TOMTAPPIT.
Well, 1P, but that's fine.
1P. Okay. Damn it.
Yeah.
It's trying so close. But no, if anybody follow along, I should have started with that. It's like today we have in the studio. Maybe I should do the introduction now and try and edit it. I'm terrible at editing. Today we have face-to-face meeting. Hey Tom, how you doing? Sitting across the table from me.
We're sitting across the table. That's a nice table.
Yeah. I tried to make it sound like we're doing audio, so I make it try and sound like I just have bad audio equipment. And
Gotcha.
but that we got a big expensive studio. I don't know. I guess those two things they go against each other. Maybe I shouldn't. But at least to give everybody a base so they can see your artwork as well. If they were to follow along and listen, because I'd like to get the exit strategy. I want to talk to you a bit about more, but I'm really curious about your upbringing and the conversation around sex inside of your family and in your house. Was it open? Was it closed door, like we don't talk about, religious family hush hush?
Well, I am an accident from my parents, and I'm raised very old world. So my parents are from 1938 and 1940, and their parents are from the 1800s.
And when you say accident, you mean they were in a laboratory setting and
yes,
chemical X mixed with chemical Y or something?
Well, I'm 20 and 17 years apart from my brother and sister.
Okay, that kind of accident. Are they
they had
Catholic?
me in their 40s.
Okay.
Yes, they were Catholic.
Okay. So no contraception. Really, I should have just asked. They didn't believe in contraception.
Most likely not. No.
Oh, that's nice that you don't you don't just use prophylactics. I don't know. That's stupid. I don't see why, but that would be funny to me if you were like my brothers and sisters that didn't make it. I'm the survivor. They're all weak. I made it through, found the hole,
Yeah,
punched it
no,
in.
it's just so much later in life where, like I'm raised very, very old world. So
All your brothers and sisters then saying, I can't believe how fucking lucky you got it, kid. You don't know how hard they were to deal with.
oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure
Okay.
they definitely had a much different life than I did.
Because if they're
I was a very much on my own.
okay. Right on. Yeah. You got the 17-year-olds to look out for you, but I mean, no one's trying to show up at your school when you're getting pushed around on the playground and beat
No,
up a 5-year-old on your behalf.
no.
He's got a job.
Right. Exactly. I mean, my brother and sister are my godparents. You know what I mean? So it's
Okay.
like,
So the sex talk in and around the house, old school, I'm guessing there really wasn't much.
there was none. There was
Okay.
nothing about it. Yeah, it was just, and I kind of
Where'd you
was
first?
let to make my own decisions
Okay.
as I grew older.
Your brothers and sisters, do you get an idea how they were? So, I mean, they must tell you, it's so different. And I'm sure that's in their perception, but do you get an idea that it was pretty drastically different for them
Oh,
too?
100%. Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, like before me, my parents would go to church every day with my brother and sister.
7 days a
Which,
week?
yeah, 7 days a week. We're super Italian. So it was just something that I learned. I was like, wait, this is what you guys did? I'm like, that's crazy to me.
How
But
much? How much were you going to church?
I didn't. I didn't at all.
Oh my God! So
Yeah.
then, a curiosity occurs. Is it the lack of church upbringing then that he's led you down this despicable moral path?
The immoralist's
I'm
way.
throwing that in. How do your parents view what you do now?
I don't show my mother. She knows that
Hmm.
what I do, but I also tell her, no, you're not seeing what I do because you're my mother.
Hmm. Because you're not
Um,
ready to have that conversation either, huh?
yeah. Well, no, I mean, I've had art
It's a two-way
openings and she
street.
wanted to come, and I was like,
Mhm.
no, Ma, you can't come because there's going to be naked girls walking around. Um,
How
so
would she? But this is your world now. She might accept it somewhat. How would you imagine she would have accepted or
she
not?
would, but she's just very innocent. My mother's never even cursed in her life. She's never
That's what
smoked a cigarette, never drank, nothing.
we've all watched Back to the Future, and that's what Marty McFly thought about his mom too.
It's not about thought. It's like I've never heard her curse, and like she
Okay.
she would cover posters' eyes in the bathroom so they don't watch her pee. Like so.
Okay.
It's much different than I.
What would she cover them with? Like,
Band-aids because that's what was in the bathroom.
okay. Okay.
She's a
Wow.
very innocent woman. Yes.
Yeah. Well, except for that one time that she made that mistake with you,
Yes.
and you resulted. I love it. I do. But if that was does that then the lack of that conversation in your house, do you think that leads into your interest in that of sorts?
I
Because
don't
at the
know.
same time, you've mentioned everybody dies, and this is
Yes.
you're more about getting. We've talked briefly about this too, but you're more about the moment. The whole thing to you
Hmm.
is about the moment, and it almost
Correct.
you explained to me that people will find meaning inside of your paintings sometimes, and you're just like, "That's
Yeah.
great for you. I'm glad you found that. Not why I painted it."
Yeah. And it's that's all art really is to me. Like that's my definition. Everybody has their own definition, but
Mhm.
my definition is I made this and I want you to think that I made this just for you. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
everybody's
Yeah.
going to see something else and they're going to see the mirror however they see in the mirror. Um, and I want them to understand that that now is all that matters.
In this moment.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, because the choices that you make now are the ones that matter, or
Yes.
just the feeling that you feel now is the one that matters. This has nothing to do with the future, then. and very little to do with the past. You are creating a story though, so you must have
Yes.
a concept of those things. I feel the story is there in bits of undress or in the clothing that might be seen even on the floor there.
Correct.
That like this just well, I get it. I feel like there's a story there. Now my imagination can run. But when viewing art like this, it's not typically with I don't know what I guess I don't know what is your imagination of the viewer. Is he with friends? Are they with their lover instead? Are they or does none of that matter and it's just
Or
this
they could be
moment?
with their mistress. It doesn't matter. Everybody has their own story on how they're going to view it.
And do you have an
the-
imagination of the proper setting to view, or you don't? You're probably, I imagine, with that idea of what you're painting, you let it go into the world and it does what it does.
Correct.
Did you consider those things as you were coming up with as you said, your voice? Did you consider
100%.
your audience and what you wanted to say?
Oh,
100%.
100%. Yeah. No, I saw, here's a thing that's different, just like tattooing was at the time when it first started. Here's something that people are doing, but it isn't saturated. And here's something that I can tell a story with. And I'm very, I craved connection most of my life. So why not show connection that people can have in their home?
Yeah. And I mean, somewhat my theory, anytime I would tattoo anybody, typically is like I when you get laid as a result of or in and around or with addition to my tattoo, that is when it's succeeded.
The tattoo has succeeded. It's gotten you laid.
Yeah,
I'm into it.
That was kind of
it's so weird that we can literally change their bodies. It's the only profession that you can change your body without having a doctor degree, a PhD.
What about bodybuilding? The most extreme of the body modifiers.
Yeah.
I mean, they do it on a daily.
This is more permanent than that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that can change.
Yeah, if you watch Ronnie Coleman, yep, that changes. Now he's walking around with crutches. But man, there was a time he could lift your car. But yeah, well, I'm almost lost, I guess, inside of it. I find it really intriguing, and yet at the same time, I feel not your artwork, but I mean more sticking on this idea of what formed this. I feel like every time I want to ask you a question, I come back to the answer you've already given me, which is this moment.
Yes.
How did you know that when you're searching for your voice, where you stumble upon this idea of this moment, or was it long, deliberative?
No. I started reading Alan Watts when I started tattooing.
Okay.
Alan Watts talks about the Tao. He talks about God. He talks about.
When you say Dow, then you don't mean Dow Jones. You mean Tao or whatever.
T-A. And how explaining the Tao is like trying to bite your own teeth. You can't really explain it, but he does his best in order to.
Okay.
He teaches Westernized Eastern philosophy, and reading his words and his philosophy and his way of life and his thoughts on things really pushed me into understanding that all that matters is right now.
But a lot of you have to be doing work for the future. So because so now you're finding. I'm taking you back in time a bit, I guess. We're finding your sales are going. You're starting to make paycheck.
Right.
You're starting to equal what you make tattooing with your artwork. But now you have to be invested in the future of sorts. You have to be marketing. You have to be thinking about tomorrow in those aspects. What will I sell this?
like I'm painting 4 paintings at any given moment just because it's like,
Mhm.
okay, I gotta wait for this to dry. Let me do something else. Let me work on this one. Of course, I want to get the stuff out there, but if I, you know, but I'm just working in that moment. All I'm doing is painting for the moment. Like
Okay.
there's like 90, not 90, I'm exaggerating. There's, let's see, like 20 paintings here that are just unfinished because my mind keeps on moving.
Is that an uncomfortable feeling, or is it
Not at all.
comforting?
No,
Okay.
I learned to navigate it.
Do you find it's almost comforting knowing that you always have something to do? You have a
Yeah.
purpose now.
There's never like, oh, what am I going to do today? Oh, I can work on this one. I can work on this. I can work on this.
And then, but the more mechanical parts of selling the artwork, did you start immediately working with someone else to market and sell your art, or
Marketing came through my the people outside of me observing. Like the first um, solo exhibit I had, I was just doing charcoal in a tattoo shop in Philadelphia,
Hmm.
and the owner of the shop also had an art gallery. And he's like, "You should do a show at my gallery." I said, "Okay, sounds great." And then I just worked on that. You know what I mean? And then kind of just kept on going, and that kind of kept on happening. I just put it out there, and eventually, hopefully, something comes back.
were the charcoal drawings going in the same direction of moment caught in
Yeah,
time?
everything had the same theme. Yeah.
So you had already somewhat seen your voice, or you knew what it was
Yeah,
a
it was
bit.
just more style. Like even now, like this past painting I just finished and released, it's more like I was always doing kind of figurative, and now I'm doing like figurative with a little bit of illustration.
Okay.
Um, Kind of like blending the two, but still the theme is the same.
How are you
It's just
finding they're
how.
being received?
So far it's the same.
Okay.
There's no different. It's just a slow grow. I'm not that guy who's going to paint a painting and be like, "This is $10,000." Nobody's buying it for $10,000. You don't even know who I am. So wherever it sells, that's where I keep the sale price. And then if I can't keep them on the shelves with that sale price, that's when I'll start bumping it up.
Because you're selling a lot of these as prints then.
Yeah, I sell them as prints. I sell the originals pretty often, especially at like the group shows that happen around the world. Actually, now I have one in London. So,
Wow. I mean, that sounds
uh,
like wow. I mean, you're already in New York, I guess, but it seems like that's a nice step, even if it's just a small little venue in London.
well, that's how I felt. Like I did one in Seattle this year, and I was just like, I always wanted to do something in Seattle, and I saw that there was a group show in Seattle, so
You
I was lucky enough to be a part of it.
you apply for those?
Yeah, just like you
Okay.
do a tattoo convention.
Yeah.
Oh, here's this thing. Let's see if I can be a part of it, and then they accept you or deny you.
How much is denial a part of this process?
Uh,
I
I
guess for you
haven't
personally, I don't
really
ask you
had
to
that
ask for
yet.
anybody else. Okay,
No, no,
awesome.
I really haven't had a deny yet.
I'm glad to hear that because I also
I
didn't
more
want to.
deny myself, than anybody else.
Okay, yeah, I was prepared because of as artists, denial or rejection is one of these things that I think pretty
Oh, it hits you
common.
hard. Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
hits you hard.
it's some of the reason I even paint is because of
Hmm.
rejection, right?
I get it. Yeah, yeah.
Enough people reject your design for your I draw Jesus Christ up. This is what it was a long time ago. My first time I ever did it, I think, for an oil painting. Somebody wanted to get a Jesus Christ, but they wanted to get him crucified and just the close up of his face. And I was like, well, let's add all this blood. And he's like, yeah, too
Weird
much
year to
blood.
remember. Okay.
But and then eventually I like so mad that I had to do this painting or this yeah, I did. He got it the way he wanted it. Jesus, but you couldn't really tell he was suffering. It's like it was arguing with itself. Like you could see
Gotcha.
it, when I look at the painting or the tattoo, I'm like, he looks tormented, but you don't know why, you know?
Hmm.
And then when I did a painting of the same and made
Right.
sure that I had
The
it
way you wanted.
ready, yeah, to put on my wall when he came in for his last session on the Jesus, and he's like, "Wow, yeah, it looks really good with all that blood, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, duh." And you know, but that was so out of that
Did he
rejection.
adjust his tattoo?
Yes, of course. Fucking ass. So he's like, maybe you put a little bit, and then still, even as we're putting the blood on the last session, he's like, oh, I don't know, not that much. He's like still pulling my hand back, you
Hesitant.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens. I mean, people used to come in for tattoos and I would draw exactly what they wanted, but I would also, in that time that I was drawing what they wanted, I would draw two versions of what I would do with that same verbiage that they gave me.
Yeah, it's so much weight. You didn't feel an immense amount of rejection when they choose the soccer mom version or the piece that's
Nope.
been approved by Starbucks, the
No, it's
live,
going
laugh,
on
love
them. It's
version.
not going on me, you know? Like
Yeah.
I would never get, a girlfriend's name tattooed on me, but if that's what they really wanted, like that's up to you, it's your life, your journey.
Yeah, but it does. But you were putting yourself into these other two paintings, only for them to pick this lesser one. You didn't. That didn't stick in you a little bit. That didn't.
No, because it's what
Good.
it's their. I don't wear Supreme clothes, but people wear Supreme clothes, and that's their thing.
Is that a desire for your direction? Your voice also is like, get rid of, like, take the clothes off, fuckers. Take the Supreme off. Like,
Hmm.
um, are you continually evaluating the world around you for what is of value and what is
Yes,
just topical shit?
it's just like anything. I mean, like that's just capitalism, unfortunately. Where I don't really. I guess that's just like any kind of theory, any kind of group.
Mhm.
Uh, so, unfortunately, I believe that capitalism was great, but then there's people that take advantage of it. Just like Osho was a great leader, but then there were people that took advantage of it. And
Yeah.
and
Don't
something
tell me I
something
need to wear.
happens.
Mhm. Sorry, go
Well,
on.
well, well. Capitalism is they were trying to sell you the American dream, and then the American dream was, oh, if you have this car, this pool, this wife, you'll be happy. Trying to fill that void, but opposed to just liking what you like, which is what happened. It got just watered down because we used to just have tradition, where that tradition is now lost.
Tradition, family tradition,
Tradition.
or
Yeah, family tradition, whatever it was, like how we used to make sauce at home and now
okay.
it's in a jar.
Yeah.
People people are like, oh, you can just buy this jar sauce right here, opposed to having plants in your backyard and making some sauce.
What about your mother? Is she making her own sauce,
My
or is
mother makes
she
everything. Yeah.
awesome?
Yeah.
So there's this authenticity that I imagine there's an authenticity that comes from your parents' orthodox views of sorts too,
Yeah. I
as they
mean,
are probably more in tune with the world as
the
a nature.
stories that my father regale about, like from like the 40s, Coney Island in the 40s, the way he used to describe it, like when he was a kid, there's this parade here called the Mermaid Parade that happens every year,
Mhm.
and it's essentially like a gay pride parade. But in the 40s, he told me that it literally was just men dressed up as mermaids going down the street.
Hmm.
And
Were
to
they
see what has become now is wonderful. It's kind of crazy, the
is it
difference.
were they gay men then too though,
Yeah,
or
a
and they
hundred
probably
percent.
just weren't necessarily out? Okay.
Right, correct. It was more like we're celebrating who we are, but we're not really celebrating like we're
Yeah.
not coming out, but we are.
It's I find it funny, especially how because like people are showing up then, and there's
Yeah,
some level of kids completely unknowing about
right,
the sexuality here. They might even identify. They might even be that sexuality themselves.
correct. And
And
it made them probably feel better about being who they were.
yeah, and they're innocent amount of it too. Like, well, we're just gonna go watch. I wonder
Yeah.
who the so it's. I didn't even know about the beginnings of the merman parade.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like it's hard to even find information on it. All I had was my father telling me about it,
Yeah. So these guys would dress up in
as
flamboyant
mermaids. Yeah,
mermaids and waddle about on the boardwalk, or they do
I
the
presume
penguin
so.
walk.
That I'm not sure of any. I can't ask when he passed away a couple of years ago, but it was very interesting. That we're just like anything here. For instance, like Soho in the '70s was like grit. That's where artists could afford to live, and then because the artists
Now
were there, the
it's
galleries moved there, and now the
yeah.
galleries are there. Then places that are high end move in there, and then the artists can't afford to live there anymore.
Is this a normal? You might have a better, observation of it than me. Is this a normal thing that artists bring interest to an
a,
area only
a
to
thousand
find
percent,
themselves priced out of it
a thousand
because
percent.
they're not satisfying their capitalistic greed?
I mean, as soon as 10 years ago, Dumbo, which I believe I took you 2 years ago,
Mhm.
um,
The area.
yeah, the area of Dumbo was literally just an arts community. Like the whole month of August, they'd have all these art projects all over the place, where they would take over these abandoned buildings and fill them with art and like all the stuff. And now, if you go over there, it's West Elm and pizza, and they made all these. It's about $4,000 a month for like a studio apartment over there. Um, Same thing with like Williamsburg. Williamsburg used to be very affordable and cheap, and now it's looking on average of $5,000 to $6,000 a month for rent.
I think that Dumbo area
Uh-huh.
is I think we went there and we walked it with Josh Payne, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken. Okay.
correct. Yeah,
And I think Tevendal was also in the area at the
possibly. Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And as it was it cheaper then at that time when we were going through there then to live?
At that time, it was just the beginning of what it has become now. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, maybe it will work here then. In Flint, we have all these murals that go up because they keep
Wonderful.
poisoning us.
Yeah.
They are beautiful, and they usually last 3 to 5 years, looking pretty beautiful, and they start to
That's
deteriorate
fantastic.
some. But I don't know that I don't know if it's bringing the business in. I don't know if they're doing it wrong or something. I'm wondering what the disconnect. Oh, I do. Well, no, because so Flint has a way of throttling back business by starving a business actually, and also
Okay.
by persecuting. So it's funny because like so you can do Seth, Seth, not Seth Safari, Shep, the guy that
Okay.
did the
Shepherd
Obey,
Ferry. Yeah, yeah.
Shepherd Ferry. Thank you. He did the Obey, the Andre the Giant. Well, he came in and he was paid in Detroit to do a wall mural. It was beautiful, big, huge,
Hmm.
beautiful wall mural thing. He got paid $100,000 or something like that, right?
Wow.
Good money.
Wow.
Um, and while he's here, he's familiar with he's a bit of an activist, so he's familiar with the story of some water problems where they were stealing money from the citizens through their water payment, price gouging them for their water payments and all
I
kinds of
understand.
nefarious activities
Greed.
and
Yeah.
greed. And
Hmm.
so he went up to a water tower and he painted free water on it or something like that, or water free
Amazing.
or something like that.
That's
Yeah, and they
fantastic.
caught him and they were going to put him in prison. So
Of
this
course.
huge
Yeah.
irony that like, hey, come on in, you're this artist, we love the things that you do on walls, but don't do it
Mhm.
where you want.
Where,
Don't do what you
right.
see. We love you
Hmm.
because of your vision. Yes. We love you because of all the visions you've given us, but we don't
Will
want
make
you to
us look
have it.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Which it is
Well, to
to
me,
me,
that seems like he did the right thing.
I think he did. He won't do it again.
Hmm.
He talked in a documentary about he's like, yeah, he had a kid coming out at the time too, and coming out. He was gonna have a kid, and it looked like he was gonna have to go to prison for some, and he was really and over something to me, maybe that's it. This does New York when this is coming in and the infrastructures are being built around these art walks in these communities, it must be that the art gives community first, and then the community can make capitalism. It can make, people can
Correct.
see the community's ability to make
People
money.
with money will always try to capitalize on, oh, people like that. Let's make more of that.
And how can I make money? Oh, too bad that was free. Too bad all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
work they did was free.
Right,
Is there
right,
a way we can benefit from it?
right.
I'm just curious because Flint's one of these interesting places that has been being downtrodden for a long time. I imagine you're familiar with the water that they poisoned
Yeah, I've
here.
heard a thing or two. Yeah.
It will happen in more and more cities. So do as many people listening to this do pay attention to what happened in Flint, just to be ready. It's gonna happen more and more. It was a choice made to save $14 a day, and it seems like that's not a lot of money, but what's
Adds up.
almost $200 a year? Come on. Yeah, it's going to happen more and more as people do these, because our infrastructure has not been kept up to keep up Our infrastructures are still old in many cases, and when you make drastic changes to them, you can end up poisoning people with lead water, because the lead was in the pipes. It was our own pipes, actually, but then it was the
Oh,
corrosive material that they were putting through it that allowed more lead to be leached off. I'm way off base though. I'm
no, I'm
sorry.
into it.
Take me into help me as a young artist who wants to plan an exit strategy, or at least sees the necessity of.
Uh,
It sounds like the work was the thing you paid the most attention to, and not the marketing. It doesn't sound like,
no,
but there had to be these moments. You didn't just Field of Dreams build it and they show up, did they?
of
Did you
course.
just that is how it happened?
Of course. I mean, like, you can literally, whatever you actually have passion for, that's what you should be doing. If it's riding horses, ride horses.
Yeah.
Because you'll get good enough at riding that horse that maybe you can teach lessons. If you're into drawing, draw. And then whatever you're into, there will be other people that will be into it. You can literally do anything that you actually have love behind. You will keep on doing it because you enjoy doing it. And once you get there, people will pay for that service.
What about if you're not good enough?
Then keep on trying. If you have love
Okay.
behind it, you keep on
I
trying.
like it.
A ballerina doesn't just know how to be a ballerina. No, she probably, or he probably, like, worked their ass off and became the best that they can be. I don't believe in talent. I only believe in tenacity. Like, I don't think there is such a real definition of talent. I think you just have to really want what you
So
want.
so is the important thing almost then or a important part of that then would have to be continually like feeding your want
Uh-huh.
as much as your passion. Because your work is what's actually getting the result then.
Uh-huh.
So you need to find things that you'll be driven to continue working towards.
Correct.
Okay.
If I was doing this just because I had to do it, I don't think it would be good. I don't think it would go anywhere. I think people can see that without even knowing what they're seeing.
Yeah.
But if you're making what you want for your wall and you just keep on doing that,
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be people that respond to that
I got to
exact
get
thing.
off this topic because it's too enthralling for me personally. Like I'm going to try and beat this horse until I was like, yeah, Kyle, we get it. It's over. All this, it seems simple enough. Um, and yet it seems kind of hard for me to do at times. Then you say, if you don't love it, I went through something where I didn't love tattooing recently. I
Okay.
just got really done with it. And I'm kind of
It's
getting
hard.
back to where I like it again.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, yes and no. Yeah. I want an exit strategy though, I think, because
Right.
there is exactly that. There's a days you wake up and you don't want to fight with the client about
Uh-huh.
what will make a better tattoo.
I know. That's a tough one. It's like an art director. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
they want this, so you have to do this. I
What is
get
an
it.
art director then? Do you have one you work
No,
with?
no,
Okay.
no, 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 no.
An art
Um,
director wouldn't be a personal for a single artist. They would be somebody at a gallery
gallery or a magazine client, or, like, depending on what type of
Okay.
artist you are, you know, like that somebody that tells you you have to use these colors and we want these objects and we want to do this and that and the other thing. And you just go, okay, I'll do that in my style.
I follow. And then so like an art director would be on a movie set and making
Yeah,
decisions like, hey, this is
exactly.
a M. Night Shyamalan's, Unbreakable or whatever. So there's going to be all this purple everywhere. It's going to have this meaning.
Yeah, exactly. Which, you know, that's a way that I even get some of my color schemes because I go into things that I love. Like I'll put on Peaky Blinders while I'm painting, and I just love their color schemes, and I'll put that in there.
What of that's interesting. I like that. So
Mhm.
you're not paying attention 100. So your life's going by. I mean, you're not just looking. I mean, you're obviously looking at the canvas, but it's
Uh,
not your overall. You're mechanical. You're watching a show and you're getting
well, I'm listening to it. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I guess you
You
couldn't.
know, otherwise I get lost in my own thought and I'm thinking too much, where I can't work that way personally.
Then do you start with you have an image that you're like a Polaroid you're working off of, or something
Yeah.
on your phone that you're
Yeah.
working
Yeah.
off of that you
Correct.
okay. You're translating it to what
Yes.
I let's talk a bit about the process of watercolor. It's
Okay.
impossible. Am I right? It's not. I've seen some amazing things, really fucking amazing, and your own artwork is
Uh-huh.
amazing as well.
It's okay. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
there's levels of watercolor that can be done that I didn't know you could do with watercolor. I always thought watercolor was landscapes and just whatever I saw in the public access.
Right. Right. Right.
And he's like, we're doing daisies today, you know.
Uh-huh.
Whatever came right after Bob Ross. If I wasn't
I got you.
asleep or I
Right.
would
Right.
wake up, Bob Ross, man, his voice put you right to bed. But then you wake up and you're listening to some girl talk about watercolors. You know, it's time to turn the
Mhm.
channel. Why did you find it to be your medium? What do you love about watercolor?
Uh, don't know why I ended up there because like I started
Oh, you were
doing
doing
this with
charcoal at one point.
charcoal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was doing charcoal and I kind of wanted to do the same kind of like the way I was doing charcoal was I was leaving a lot of information out, which was something hard to do,
Mm-hmm.
to not do all the details. So it was kind of nice to have that. And then with the watercolor, I just felt like I could get the colors that I enjoy the most. I love that muted tone color scheme. And I
Yeah,
felt like that was the best way that I can produce where I want to go with this.
I think I could give a testament that there's something that's almost ethereal. It's not if what you did painted were real life colors rendered as a photo, then why even do it? Right? Like it doesn't seem like it could be me in that scenario now. It's too real. Is that
Right. 100%.
so? It's like a dreamy kind of
I mean,
effect.
there are plenty of artists out there that do like portraits that look exactly like a picture. I just don't, for me personally, I don't see the point in that
I don't
because
either.
just use the picture.
Yeah,
Use the picture. You know?
I do that. I do. I'm looking at a painting right now that I've been working on for probably 2 years, if not longer. Just
That's a
because
lot
I'm
of time.
I'm pretty lazy, Tom. I'm very very lazy.
2 years, 2 hours, same thing. Gotcha.
So yeah, a long time ago, Jorge Masvidal
Uh,
the first BMF title, bad motherfucker title for the UFC was made for Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, and
awesome.
I wanted to do at the time I wanted to do freehand paintings because exactly that. I was like, why do a fucking photo? It doesn't make
Uh-huh.
sense
Right.
unless there's actually like unless I'm getting parts of it wrong. Like it feels almost better to make a mistake doing a portrait like freehand instead of trying to like grid system this thing out perfectly. And it seems like why do it then? Except for
There
my
was an
own
art critic.
exercise. Mm-hmm.
There was an art critic that I once read. One of his posts was "Your mistakes are your style." I felt like that was
Uh,
kind of interesting.
I like that.
Yeah.
I've always so you told me you don't care for your own artwork
I like
at
it in the
time.
moment, and then 5 minutes later, it's kind of like looking at a tattoo on your significant other. Like you just over criticize it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I could have done this better. Could have done that better. Where it's great, and I'll put it out there because that's the only way people are going to see it.
Hmm.
And I'll just on the next one try even harder, and then the next one I try even harder, and then the next one just keep on going.
Like the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah,
So is that an important part? Like if you liked it too much, do you think you would not do it? You would
I
stop
think you should
creating?
quit. Yeah, I mean, like, what's the point of that? You know what I mean? Like, you should always strive to be better than who you are today. Like if you're the same person you were 5 years ago, that means you're not trying to better yourself. So the
Yeah.
same thing with art. If you're still, drawing the same Mickey Mouse over and over and over, yeah, it should be excellent. But like, okay, this seems kind of monotonous.
Or doing the same compass or
Right.
stopwatch design with your sons. Now you just ask. You just say that. Now you just ask, yeah, what time was your son born? Oh, that's good. I forgot to mention. Yeah, I wanted to have the hands at the. Yeah, I know. I knew. I completely knew. I have a Pinterest account too. Yeah. So what time? Uh, I'm sorry. I'm
You got to
putting
put the
my
name.
own
You got to put
vitriol
the
into
name
it.
where Rolex. It would say Rolex, but you got to put their name in there and stuff like that. That's good.
Yeah. No, it's not good. It's
I like
terrible.
that.
Quit ripping off other people's or do actually continue to do it. Just do it with me.
Yeah.
Just fund my artwork somewhere else with that. I guess I should because that's what I'm viewing myself. I don't know what I even like to do anymore. It's all
Uh,
arduous. I like oil painting, but my idea when I do oil is to try and make it look like a photo. Even if
okay.
I'm doing it freehand, I'm still trying
Uh,
to make it look like a photo. Uh, which I don't like, right? Like, so are you familiar with Chris Guest Artist? Is his
yes.
Instagram handle?
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
think he's a wonderful artist. Yeah.
oh, he does such, and he when yeah, I mean, he's doing not realism, he's doing an oil
No,
painting,
he's doing figurative paintings. Yeah.
and he's purposely not blending areas and edges.
Hmm. Yeah. That's
And
a, it's hard to break yourself down like that. It's
oh
kind
my
of like
God.
doing traditional tattoo. A traditional tattoo. Where's the stuff that I leave out? You know.
Hmm. Yeah, because you have to leave something. The same with when you were doing black and gray or your charcoal.
Hmm.
When I
Hmm.
think of black and gray, it's the most like dream to me. So I like that because it can be more a feeling than a thought. But what you found
Hmm.
was, and the necessity then with black and gray is you have to leave things out, or it's not
It's just
like
bland. Yeah.
yeah, you're
It's hundred
overdoing it.
percent value. Yeah.
And at that point, that's where you must have seen that you're like, well, I can still get this ethereal look, this dreamlike state with
Hmm.
watercolor, but retain color information or have a
Right.
nuance on color information that gives me more
Hmm.
because I guess this very same thing that you do now if you were doing that in charcoal there is not just a lot missing but a lot of feeling and warmth and tone, right?
Yeah. Drawing deeper is tough. Drawing deeper with less is tough.
Okay, yeah, and you have a necessity to create an ambiance if you will, like
Hmm.
too much sunlight isn't necessarily going to be good for your paintings because typically they're in a bedroom setting.
Hmm. Sometimes, I
Okay.
mean, like people send me photos of where they hang. Sometimes they hang it in their kitchen. Um, it's kind of fun to see where people are putting these in their homes.
Yeah, I would
Um,
I would imagine because they're not typically that's not something you're going to have the grandkids
you have on display. Yeah, yeah,
yeah having an omelet over.
right.
Like
It's,
grandma, tell me
it's
about that painting you like so much.
it
Oh.
reminds me of somebody before your grandfather. Um,
Love it. Tell me this then. Now get me through some of the mechanical parts, and then I'll let you off and on to your about your day. I really
mhm.
appreciate you being a part of this, Tom. I do.
Of
And
course, I
let me
appreciate
also tell
you
you,
asking. That was
dude,
pretty
how
wonderful.
awesome was it to run into you again, to get to see you again in New York?
Oh
That
yeah,
actually happened just kind of happenstance too, because
yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
It
I'm
was
in
like
New
a
York.
fucking fireman on pole. I was like, okay, he's here. Let me go. Let's go.
Yeah. Yes, we're going to an eatery. Dude, and let me tell you that day, I after not to do it. I mean, I think as a director, several things I'm going through, uh, but also from meeting you and seeing you such a kind, warm, loving face, and talking with you for that brief time that we got to, seeing your beautiful girlfriend, and the life that you guys are having now, and all of that going into. I went into Times Square right after we left. We jumped on the not the trolley, the subway system,
Right.
and dealt with the hot ass smell and just the heat, and then
Mm.
made our way to the mecca of Americana, Times Square, and then of course made our way to the red steps, and
Gotcha.
then of course tried to make you wait your time there until you can kind of go up to the top. Whoever's got real balls, let me tell you this: if anybody's going to Times Square, fucking walk up to the top of the red steps right away. Just go to the fucking, like, make room, motherfuckers. Go all the way up to the top instead of pussyfooting your way up there. I noticed that everybody kind of does that. They kind of sit down. Well, this is a good place to sit for a minute until the opening comes up there. Anyways, not for that. For the first time in my life in Times Square, I sat there around all that commercialization, and I wasn't bothered by the question of why. Normally, the why will just infuriate me. Why are we spending this money? I have a big screen at home. Why am I standing in front of this one? I don't have a remote. Why are all these, why are the meat vendors here? Why is the naked cowboy over there? I'm not going to tip him. Why is Elmo got his hat off smoking a cigarette? Is that a cigarette? It's not crack, I hope. Why is there so much? So, and then you'll see so many other families with the father in the same kind of scratch head moment where he's just hating his pocketbook spending. He feels like he's hemorrhaging money, and he's just standing there like, this is the worst vacation ever. For the first time ever, I experienced the why as well, because of all of that, because of all of us being here. These are my people. They're alive right now while I'm alive.
Right.
Everybody that's dead are dead. Yes. And in that moment, yes, exactly that, actually. Because then the girl's over here making a TikTok. Any other day, I'd be like, fucking wannabe influencer over there. You fucking probably ain't got 1,000 fucking followers yet. I would want to hate on it for some stupid reason, even though that's not my. But that then was like, no, this is part of my scene. This is part of this scenery that this is the art that's going on. Anyways, I loved it. I think it had a lot to do with meeting you and well, seeing you again. I'm meeting you, obviously, actually, from so many years ago, but also from seeing you again, and being able to take the positive vibes and outlook that you seem to have, living in the city. I would think mostly cynicism. I have never gotten that from you, though. I've always tried to, too. You know me. I'm always trying. I'm like, Tom, tell me about some cynical
Where's the
bullshit.
negative?
Yeah. I've never gotten it from you once. I was like, turn the corner. It's a happy day, Kyle.
Yeah.
You're just on the shadowed side of the skyscraper. Yeah. Well, what is your relationship with death then growing up? Where you because if we're all gonna die, this must be something that you had some knowledge of. Was it your parents' fragility? I mean, they were older than they were for your
Alan
brother and
Watts,
sister.
man.
Alan Watts.
Yeah.
I must have to give him a read.
It's from what I understand, from what other people told me, it's a tough read. But I reread his books every year, and they say something different to me every year. But
yeah, that's the way I listen to ICP, and every single time I hear something new.
Different clown makeup
speaks to me in a different way.
But yeah, the way that he writes and the way that he makes you look at things and just to enjoy what is kind of changed everything for me when I was 26, 27, somewhere around there. And it's the best way to do it.
Was it prior to that different then? Was it more down? And I don't think I
Prior to
knew you
that
at 27.
I lived a life that was edging, going towards going through the motions of, okay, well, you're supposed to get a house and you're supposed to get a wife and you're supposed to have kids and you're supposed to do the things. But I was never really on the line. I never really understood going doing
Yeah.
what everybody else was doing. I always kind of just wanted to be me, and just finding you is tough.
Yeah, especially you don't even know you. I guess that's why
Right.
many people gravitate towards the rut, if you will, if you allow me to call it that.
Right.
What it
No.
sounds like you're describing. They gravitate to the rut because that's already known as well.
Hmm. Yeah, it's easy. The plan's already there. The blueprint's there. Like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Well, I think I've got a takeaway for this conversation then is ignore the rut. The rut is like a Pinterest tattoo. Sure, it seems easy and right, but that's only because it was right for somebody else.
Hmm.
Do you your own identity, where do you see this going? You said you're using illustrative parts in your artwork now. Do
Yeah.
you see that becoming a part? And do you see anything beyond that, where that might go?
I don't know where it's going to go. I'm finding more through mistake. So the more mistakes I make, the more, just like when I first started drawing, how to draw, let's say, just a circle correctly, like coming at it differently. Just it's like going to a figure drawing session, and depending on your angle, it's going to be different. And none of those angles are wrong. It's just how you see it. So
Is
as
that
I keep on going, I just find more and more
in the
of
mistake?
my different. Yeah.
And so you're taking that, you're like, somebody told you your mistakes are your style, and you see mistakes in it. To me, watercolor is one of these things that you kind of just have to live with too. Sometimes it does things completely outside of, I mean, you might have had some control that you could have exercised, but that's
Right.
kind of the fun of it, right? Is like
Uh,
it's pretty uncontrollable.
See what happens. Yeah.
Right on. I like that. I don't know that I like the idea of doing watercolor. Honestly, it really scares me because of that very thing that we're talking about now. Because
Well,
you put the
again, if you
water
have
on
the
there
passion
sometimes.
behind it, it's not going to come out good, But if you have a
Yeah.
passion behind it, it's going to come out good.
Did you work with watercolor before?
No.
Right on. So it was right on. I like that. Even so, as you worked with it the first time,
Mhm.
did you find that these mistakes were being caused and you kind of liked them again?
Some of them, yeah. I mean, some yes, some no. I mean, like I have boxes of failed for me. Like okay, I can't do anything with this. But I learned, okay, don't do that.
Oh, I dare you. I dare you to make a book of at the height of your success. Keep that box, please. And at the height of your success, put that out there for so many artists will they may not buy it, but they'll appreciate that you made it.
Yeah, just call it tenacity, and that's it.
Yes. There you
Yeah.
yeah. Like keep going. Trust me. It's not all this, you motherfuckers. They ain't all like
Right.
that. They can't all be touchdown passes.
Oh,
Brother,
not at all.
thanks for like you've one just you've been a huge blessing on my life. Just knowing you and your positive outlook on these things is really refreshing, and
Well,
it
that's
helps
nice.
bring me down to an idea of counting my blessings, is seeing the world with better eyes, with more open eyes. And you provide that for me just from you. Also, your artwork does exactly it does what you want. It helps you escape that and to the doldrum, and to live in that moment, or to escape that dread of the future, I should say, or
Yes.
that cry for the past, and
Correct.
to live in that moment. So man, bless you for every blessing that you give to myself and others and anybody listening. Please go check out Tom Tapit. Give us some Instagram and some things where we can find, follow, and buy your artwork.
Just my website, tomtapitart.com. That's pretty much it. I mean, that links you to everything. Um, and
TomTapitArt.com.
that brings you everywhere.
Where
That
will we see you next?
Right now, there's another show in Philadelphia. Not Philadelphia, in Seattle. I think in the beginning of October. I don't know the name of the gallery because
I imagine they'll be listed on
not
your
written
website
down.
as well.
Yeah, it'll be on there. There's a whole CV.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate you.
Take care. Talk to you soon.
You got it, brother. And go. It's off. How do I turn this off?